This is Steve Onsman from Calvary United Church of Christ in Reading, Pennsylvania. Hope you're watching this, or if you don't, you watch it as I post it. You'll share it with people. This is the Wednesday Word for May 19th, 2021. I get really interesting questions. This comes from Elliot Werner. Martin Luther wrote a pamphlet called On the Jews and Their Lies. He also sided with the aristocracy during the Peasant Rebellion. What are your thoughts on Martin Luther and what he accomplished and the methods he used? First of all, I don't want to insult any Lutherans because Luther was a great person in many ways. And I will first admit that since I grew up in a church that came out of the English side of the Reformation, the United Methodist Church, I didn't have a whole lot of education in my upbringing of the Lutheran, Calvin, Presbyterian, other parts of the biggest parts of the Reformation. There's no denying their courage and their grit, and I would never take anything away from how they were able to rebel against really one of the most powerful organizations in history, the Roman Catholic Church of the 15th and 16th century. The church was not just spiritually powerful, but economically and military-wise. So to do what they did was remarkable. But there's also no denying that Martin Luther was an anti-Semite, and his writings were used, and maybe are still being used, to undergird the so-called theological premise used by Hitler and the Nazis to support their attempted genocide of the Jewish people, because that's what they wanted to wipe every Jew out. So, there is no denying that. And I know there's been historical apologies and all that, and I'm not going to make the excuse that he was a person of his time, because there were a lot of people who did not take that approach. So because I don't know much about Luther, although I've read some of his most important works, I went online and I found this website, Jewish Virtual Library, and this is from that. They say, at the beginning of his career, Martin Luther was apparently sympathetic to Jewish resistance to the Catholic Church. All right, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Right. However, he did have an expectation that Jews would convert to what he considered to be a purified Christianity, and when they didn't convert, it made him angry, and he turned on them in some ways, in pretty horrible ways. He used violent and vulgar language throughout his career, and again, they say while they did not expect religious figures to use this sort of language in the modern world, it was not uncommon in the early 16th century. So they put some quotes here, and I think you need to hear these. These are from Luther. Learn from this, dear Christian, what you are doing if you permit the blind Jews to mislead you. Then the saying will truly apply. When a blind man leads a blind man, both fall into the pit. Boy, talk about taking scripture out of context. You cannot learn anything from them except how to misunderstand the divine commandments. All right, that's just one quote. There's many of them. I took that and another one. Here's the second. Therefore, be on your guard against the Jews, knowing that wherever they have their synagogues, nothing is found but a den of devils, in which sheer self-glory, conceit, lies, blasphemy, and defaming of God and men, in context, are practiced most maliciously, and veheming his eyes on them. I don't know if veheming was a word. And that's just two very short quotes from Luther. So it gives you an idea of what he was like. And let's just say, let's take the second part, which is also interesting, about siding with the aristocracy. Priests generally were from wealthy families, and that's how they got their positions. And so I don't know. Again, I don't know. I'm just conjecture because I didn't have much time to really research this about Luther. But like most reformers, Luther didn't want to break the church. I mean, they did break the church, the whole group of them, but they didn't want to. He wanted the church to change. I mean, St. Francis did the same thing and was successful in staying within Catholicism, but it just wasn't going to happen. He saw how far the church had strayed in some areas. He didn't want to change everything, but he wanted to change certain things, and they did make sense. He had seen that it had moved away from the teachings of Jesus in his opinion, so he wanted to change that. But I also don't think he wanted to lose his privilege. And the seeds of the revolutions to come were already being sown during his lifetime. Think about the rebellions that happened in the 16 and 1700s, our own being one of them. It was all part of fighting against the aristocracy. And so, I mean, John Wesley was basically banished. He was canceled by the American Methodists because he sided with England in the Revolution. And so, it wasn't unusual for people to do that because they thought of the divine right of kings and all that sort of thing, which was changing, thankfully. Anyway, he wanted change as long as it didn't affect his standing and didn't take away from him. In that case, that's just my take. If you know better, let me know. All right. Well, that's all I have for today. Big topic, short time. What do you think? Send me an email, a message, call. I'm always looking for questions to grapple with. I'm running out. Thank you, Elliot, for this one. Send them to me, and I will do one on a Wednesday word. Stay safe out there. Wash your hands. Keep physical distance. Wear your mask. Get vaccinated. We hope to be back in church June 20th, 8 and 9:30 in the sanctuary, and we hope you'll join us if you're able, or watch us on Facebook Live. Have a great day, and go in peace.